was India?
Interesting, great experience. You know, we really got a taste of what it's like in a different country, and let's just say it's nice to be home. We certainly are very lucky people here in Australia, you know, but we found the Indian people very welcoming, very warm, and it was one of those trips where the boys were eyes wide open, ears wide open. A lot of learning moments for us, and you know, a lot of togetherness. We come back with staff and players really united, which is important, and obviously some good match minutes.
Yeah, it's not something I've ever remembered the Raw doing. Do you think that's something you're continuing to do?
Yeah, look, I definitely think a pre-season trip, I'm a big believer that, you know, time spent together is of high value, and a trip like that, you know, it might have just over 2 weeks, it felt like 2 months. So you certainly learn a lot about yourself, and you learn a lot about your teammates, and I think that puts us in good stead moving forward.
Let's start with off-field. What were the biggest learnings?
Off-field connections. You build genuine connections. I think sometimes as a team, you're here to work at training, and you kind of get along with each other, and you try your best to get to know people. And but when you're on a trip like that, there's, you know, airport delays, there's a lot of meals together, you know, a lot of time spent around the hotel, and so the conversations and the connections happen in a more natural way, and you build trust, you build understanding, you build a deeper sense of where people come from and why they do what they do, and they are the way they are. And I think you know, that empathy towards each other is really important. It just builds trust and resilience, and you know, I think all in all a really positive trip for us.
They're on field, like obviously you've maybe a few changes from last season, not too many, but did you feel that you got something out of the?
Yeah, look, the on-field stuff's been tricky. We've had you know, just joking with Zabs there, we've had a few games obviously where we're playing with 10 men for large parts. So that poses a different challenge football-wise, certainly. The conditions were obviously difficult, very hot and humid, which is great in terms of our fitness and our resilience to face those conditions, which we often get here as well in the middle of summer. But the playing surface was probably the biggest challenge. It was not really conducive to the type of football we want to play, which is, you know, a passing style of football. So I think the positive for me is that we continue to try and play. The results probably not the biggest focus in a tournament like that, but certainly trying to build structures and processes in terms of the intricacies of how we play is the most important part for me, and I'm really pleased with the way that the gents are sinking their teeth into what we're trying to do.
Now you've got some really good fixtures coming up, or we have some fixtures coming up in the Festival of Football, but tell me about the clash against the Queensland side.
It's great. I think, you know, I've been involved in these games as a player, as an A-League player, playing against, you know, All-Stars team when I was down there in Newcastle. It's great because it can go, you know, a few different ways. We've had games where, you know, we've won 7 and 8-0 and it's a bit of a whitewash and there's a big divide, and we've had other moments at Perth Glory. I think we actually lost 2-1. I heard stories that the last time that the Raw played the All-Stars, they lost, and I think it's a really good thing. It's a competitive match. It gives an opportunity for some guys outside our program that, you know, for whatever reason, may have parted with the club in previous times or previous management, may have gone and grown and become better players playing NPL and senior men's football. You sometimes find the odd, you know, older player, a diamond in the rough that's kind of slipped through everyone's cracks for a long time. It's a good opportunity for some of those players to put their foot forward and kind of show us their levels, but it's also a great opportunity for us to continue building our processes and build on the way we play.
Some of the NPL sides have shown some great skill and some great results this season. The grand finals on the weekend were good, and having Scott going ahead of Gold Coast Knights and what they achieved, even though they didn't get to the grand finals. Is that a good breeding ground, you think, at the moment to get guys to the Raw?
Yeah, 100%. I look at, you know, I feel in a very humbled and privileged position being the head coach of the only A-League club in Queensland. I take a lot of pride in that, but I look at some of the work that's being done outside, you know, my space. Guys like Scotty Mack and Grozzy and a few other guys that are, you know, I would say running their clubs in a really top-end fashion. I feel like there's some really strong football teams here in this Queensland NPL. They've gone on and showcased that in the Cup, which is nice as well. So yeah, a lot of good players, a lot of good coaches, and I think, you know, as the league and the game grows, hopefully the bridge between NPL and A-League gets smaller.
All right, this season, what can Raw fans expect? So the different styles, what are we going to see from the boys?
I think the styles, you know, for those who dive deep enough into it's quite clear. I think you know, when I walked in the door first day, I think I had one training session before we played Wellington and we had 60-something% of the ball at home. For me, I want to be an on-the-ball team. I want us to be a team that looks to try and take the game to the opposition, and we were able to do that in numerous games, whether it was victory home or away, Sydney FC away, West Sydney Wanderers away. Every game we're going to get the ball down and we'll look to try and be front foot, proactive, and they're all buzzwords, you know, for most coaches, especially in interviews. But I'm a big believer, and that's the way the game should be played. And I've worked under some top managers who have made that a success, and I, you know, want to do the same for this club. It's a fantastic club, great membership base, a really loyal fan base who have gone through some difficult times, and I want to bring back that resilience and that fighting spirit to the way we do things.